Let's talk about poisons that are hidden in plain sight. Seriously, they're probably in your home right now, just sitting under a sink or in a garage, disguised as totally normal everyday products. We're talking about inhalants.
You know these things, right? Spray paint, glue, markers, cleaning fluids. When you use them for their actual purpose, they're perfectly fine. But the danger we're diving into today is what happens when they are deliberately misused.
So what's the connection here? What's the one thing that links a can of hairspray to a tube of model airplane glue? What's the one critical danger they all share?
It's this: sudden sniffing death. And yeah, the name is shocking because the reality is just that serious. This is the single most immediate and deadly risk we need to wrap our heads around.
So let's just get right to it. We're going to start with the absolute most severe consequence. Let's talk about death in a spray can.
Okay, so what does that really mean? Well, these chemicals don't just mess with your brain. They make your heart muscle incredibly sensitive, like hyperreactive. So a sudden rush of adrenaline, from something as simple as being startled, or even just running up a flight of stairs, can trigger a fatal heart rhythm. The heart can literally just stop.
And this, right here, this is the most terrifying part. This isn't something that only happens to people who've been doing this for years. Sudden sniffing death can happen the very first time someone tries an inhalant. The first time could very well be the last time.
So how exactly do these household items turn into poisons that attack the body? That brings us right to our next section. Let's look at how this stuff actually works.
So, at their core, inhalants are just volatile chemicals that people breathe in to get a very quick, very dangerous high. And here's the really weird part. Unlike alcohol or tobacco, there's no age limit to buy them. Why? Because you're not supposed to be consuming them in the first place. That's precisely why inhaling them to get high is illegal for everyone, no matter how old you are.
The ways people use them are, well, they're shockingly simple. Sniffing, or huffing, is just breathing the fumes straight from a container. Bagging takes it a step further by concentrating those fumes in a bag, which makes the effect way more intense and dangerous. And then there's spraying, which is putting these poisons directly into the body almost instantly.
The speed of this attack is just staggering. We are not talking about minutes here, we're talking about seconds. The chemicals go from your lungs directly into your bloodstream, and then bam, they hit the brain. That incredibly fast absorption is exactly what makes them so profoundly dangerous.
And that lightning-fast attack leads to damage all over the place. In this next section, we're going to look at just how much the body is truly put under siege.
This quote just nails it perfectly. Imagine your brain screaming, "I need oxygen," and the inhalant fumes just say, "Too bad." That's because these chemicals are basically asphyxiants. They physically push the oxygen out of your lungs and your blood, literally starving your brain of what it needs to survive.
And you can see the direct result of that oxygen starvation right here. On one side, you have a brain working properly, clear thinking, fast reactions. On the other side, it's a mess. Instead of clear thoughts, you get dizziness and confusion. Instead of self-control, you get slurred speech and even blackouts. It's a system-wide crisis.
And make no mistake, this isn't just about a temporary brain fog. The damage can be permanent, and it radiates through your entire body. We're talking permanent memory loss, a damaged heart muscle, liver and kidney failure. It even harms your bone marrow. This is a truly systemic poison. So beyond all the devastating physical harm, there are some very serious real-world consequences you need to know about. So next up, the law and your life. Even though you can walk into a store and buy these products, using them to get high changes everything, legally. Just possessing them with the intent to inhale is a crime. Being intoxicated in public can get you arrested, and giving them to someone else, yep, that's a crime too. The law is crystal clear on this stuff.
And this one is a particularly deadly combination. The dizziness, the terrible coordination, the awful judgment that inhalants cause. Getting behind the wheel of a car in that state is a recipe for absolute disaster. Your reaction time just plummets, your vision gets blurry, and the risk of a fatal crash just goes through the roof.
Okay, this all brings us to our final and maybe most important section. We've seen the dangers, we've seen the damage, and we've seen the legal risks. So now, let's talk about making an informed choice.
So who's most at risk here? Well, believe it or not, it's often middle school students. You see, the products are just there. They're easy to find and cheap. And there's this incredibly dangerous misconception that because they're not street drugs, they must not be as harmful. It's a curiosity that can be absolutely lethal.
You know, when it comes right down to it, the best defense you have is knowledge. It's about understanding that these things are not recreational drugs. They are poisons. Full stop. And just knowing that, that's the most powerful defense you can possibly have.
So the final question is really this. When you actually weigh a few fleeting minutes of a high against a lifetime of permanent damage, or even against instant death, what choice is there really?